American people are overwhelmingly so supportive of Social Security and what it stands for that opponents used to talk about it. Oh, it's socialism. It's going to hurt. It's going to drive private pensions and private companies out of business and all that, insurance companies out of business. The American people rejected that over and over. As you know, I wrote a book called The Battle for Social Security, which traces this long history. But something interesting happened in the late 1970s, and that is that opponents of Social Security, I think, I don't know for sure, but they all seem to realize that it was a losing strategy to attack Social Security directly because people valued it. So what they started doing was working to undermine confidence and to raise collateral, sort of tangential issues. Like one is not a tangential issue, but is Social Security affordable? They started, we have an aging population, blah, 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 blah. So that they said, even George Bush, who talked about privatizing Social Security, praised Social Security as, it's a little bit like praising Caesar. It's praised Social Security for what a wonderful program it's been for the 20th century, but it can't remain. And the intergenerational conflict, I think, is a piece of that. They can't bring themselves to say Social Security is a bad program. So what they say is, oh, we really care. They use the values. We care so much about the young that we think we want to cut Social Security and scale it back and switch more to the young. But the people making those arguments, they're the last people to vote for Head Start. In fact, they vote to cut Head Start. So it just is.
Yeah, and I think the other piece of that is, I really feel sometimes that it's okay. It's one thing if you're trying to rob us. It's another thing if you're insulting our intelligence while you do it. And I can only imagine, I'm a baby boomer, I can only imagine that millennials must feel more that way because their whole pitch about cutting Social Security, which they would do in various phased-in ways or waiting several years because they know that seniors and near seniors are a powerful voter bloc. It's always, millennials, the baby boomers are stealing everything, so we're going to implement some cuts that won't affect the baby boomers but will affect you. And they think somehow they won't figure that out. And I think they haven't they? I think the polls show that millennials are not on board with this nonsense.
That's right. It's this effort of the wealthiest in the country saying, hey, watch out for Grandma. Grandma's going to do you in. It's not a message that works really well, although it's insidious. And if it were simply insulting intelligence and people saw it, then that would be one thing. But when you're just kind of casually following an issue, not the way that you and I follow it, but just kind of reading the headlines, it's a scare tactic. It's a way to say, you're having trouble. There's high unemployment among your generation. You've got all this student debt, all of things, which is true, and what we should be focused on as a country. But then the tagline is, and it's those greedy geezers that are taking it away from you. So it's a scare tactic. It's playing on their people's economic futures because millennials are burdened down by debt, and it is something that we all, as a nation, should be concerned about. And I think if you ask most seniors, they would say, we're defending Social Security because we care about the millennials. Those are our grandchildren, and we want them to have a strong economic future.